Hey y'all, and welcome back to another Confederate Shop YouTube video. There's so much I could talk about here today. As I record this video, it's November 6th, so the day after the election, and I was satisfied with the results, although I didn't think it was going to turn out that way. I try not to make this channel or ConfederateShop.com focused around politics or political issues simply because we're focused on Confederate history. But I think in a way the two are indistinguishable because the majority of the issues that I speak on, the Confederate issues, Southern issues that were dealt with in the 1860s and prior and thereafter are very political. The way our government is run today is a direct result of what happened in 1865 because there was an exchange that happened. Ever since our founding, America's founding, there was this argument between should the centralized government or should the government in Washington have the supreme power over the states. You know, they had that argument early on with the Federalists and Anti-Federalists, and then you had Abraham Lincoln, who was one of those who had descended from the Hamiltonian style of thought, which was that the federal government does have the supreme power. But, you know, after 65, the die was cast, and we are in the system of this large government and how it operates, where the federal government kind of has the say, and the likelihood of us going back to a more state sovereign kind of government is slim to none. So we're stuck in this position right now, and as Confederates, after the war, had viewed the Republic, they said, well, we're now part of this, let's give our best, and reconciliation started to happen, and the country started to come together, and it came together for many wars thereafter, right? It was instrumental in the victory of World War I, too, many believe, this reconciliation campaign that the federal government had put out after the war. But why do I say all this? I'm happy about the victory because Trump has been the only modern person within politics, at least within the past 10 years, who has venerated the name of Robert E. Lee. And I think that's pretty easy to do. There isn't too much information out there that could demonize Robert E. Lee. And even the few things that they do have against Robert E. Lee are based in such shoddy sources that they're easily disproven. And I did that, you know, just a few weeks ago when I came out, or I should say a few months ago when I came out with my essay entitled The Lie About Lee. So I was super happy that it had such a great review from its viewers. I know it was picked up by the Sons of Confederate Veterans magazine, so I was honored with that they would do that. But the truth is out there about Robert E. Lee, and Trump is probably the only one who has said anything positive about that individual on a mainstream platform, which is super positive and something that we Southerners really, really like because we venerate and honor Robert E. Lee because he was a great man of character. And there's also the chance of maybe our military bases being changed back to their Confederate names. And we're all hoping for this. We're all really praying for this because, you know, those names weren't given Confederate names by people who were in power trying to stick it to Yankees or the federal government. It was people who loved America, Northerners even, who saw fit to name those bases after the Confederate heroes. So I think it's right by everyone, especially those Northerners who changed the names themselves to Confederate names should be preserved. So that's all I have to say about that when it comes to politics and what happened with Election Day yesterday. I'm very happy with the outcome, and I'm hoping that good things are to come for the Southern states in making Dixie great again, which I have that hat. I've been selling that hat like crazy, which is good because I ordered like, I don't know, 6 dozen of those hats, and I put them on sale just right off the bat just to kind of move them, and that really, really worked. So that's super great. I'm super happy about that. So get yourself a Make Dixie Great Again hat if you don't already have one. But I had a story to tell you. I was sitting here like a week ago, And I do this in the mornings. I usually come over to my parents' home and the warehouse, and I sit down and talk to my father most every morning. And, we're just shooting the breeze, chewing the fat. And I turn to my left, and I'm just kind of looking at our stock behind here. And I look down, and there is a case, just a cardboard box that says Memorial Day Annual. And I look at it, and I look at him, and I say, Dad, why is there a box of Memorial Day Annual down here? I open it up, and there are like 60 copies of this book, Memorial Day Annual. Now, if you follow what I do here on the YouTube channel, I had a video months ago on Memorial Day Annual, and I had sold out of it, and I ran out of it. So I have to apologize to you all because I thought I was out of it. And you've heard this story before, that we lose track of things, and it's legitimate. I mean, this warehouse is big to us, a small business, big to us. And, we've had 30 years to build up our stock in books and everything. So it's hard to keep track of hundreds and hundreds of titles of books, but I found more of Memorial Day Annual. So I'm going to sell this again here. I've got about 60 copies. So I'm hoping that it sells out again. I looked into a local publisher to redo this. The publisher who had previously published it, I said, hey, do you have that file still on hand? Because it was years and years ago that a friend of ours had this book printed. This company I'm speaking of, printed this book for him. And he has since passed away, God rest his soul. And they couldn't find the file. So essentially, if I wanted to reprint this book again, I would have to type it all out, format everything, which I have the ability to do, but it's extremely time consuming. And I have people that can do that. It does get expensive too at certain points, depending on the book, and if you want to redesign the cover and whatnot. So it was hard for me to reprint this book, but I have 60 copies. So get one while you can. Probably have, unless it sells out. I mean, a lot of people bought it last time I had the featured video on it. So the next book, the book I really wanted to feature as kind of my hidden gem, was something else that I didn't realize I had so many of. I've been reorganizing our warehouse, and I stumbled on a box that my father, he mismarked. So he marked it as a completely other book, but the book that was really in the case was the Southern Book of Quotes. Now this is a treasure trove. What makes this book special? This book is a compilation of all the great Southern quotes, but it's not just Southerners from the War of Northern Aggression, right? This is from the beginning of America up until probably the 1950s and 60s. Great Southerners who had phenomenal quotes. So it puts it in an order with all of the different featured people who have the quotes. I mean, you have Roy Acuff is the first one. You have George Bagby, P.G.T. Beauregard. I mean, this has quotes from Robert E. Lee, Thomas Caskey, Devereux Cannon. I mean, Southern authors, even more recent from the 1900s, all the way back to the 1700s, Southerners and great political thoughts and things they had to say. I mean, this book is just something fantastic to have on your shelf. If you're like me and you love historical quotes, I mean, I've been sharing historical quotes on our social media pages since I started them years and years ago, but I've been surrounded by it too, because one special thing about our shop, and one thing people really know us for, is that when you go into our store, Crossroads Country Store, and you look around the book room, my father has had historical quotes all the way around the book room for years, since we began, because we're dedicated to truth. And what better way to find the truth in the people that lived through it, people that experienced it, and what they have to say. There's a lot of great quotes within this book. And I'm going to put it on sale too this week. And generally my sales will last from Friday when the video is released up until Sunday at midnight. Sometimes I'll extend it till Monday, but just get it over the weekend just so you get the sale. So you can get both of these books here this weekend, be featured in the newsletter where you probably have found this video. And thank you again for supporting our shop, for supporting our work here at ConfederateShop.com and Crossroads Country Store. I hope y'all have a blessed week. Bye.